Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's me Kagem. Okay, so today we have another dragging video. Anytime I try and find like other dragging stories, I always come back to Chanel, Louis Vuitton and Big H because they're the three brands that are always being dragged so hard. Today we are dedicated to the Ponytail Express herself, the Orange Stallion, honey. She has got so many gangster rap names that this channel has given her because we don't call her by her government name. She's very powerful in these internet streets, okay? Chanel and Big H take people's pages and accounts down. Ponytail, you are not coming for this page, honey, okay? So, and this time we're going to do things a little bit differently. Instead of reading the English language reviews, I was reading the French language Google reviews and I was screaming all day long, okay, when I was collecting these reviews. They're absolutely insane. So these are written by French clients, so local clients, French citizens of the different boutiques within France. So let's get started with the first one. This one is crazy. This is from the Cannes store. So she writes it in French and then Google do a translation. So I'm going to read the Google translation, but I did read the French language one myself as well, just to make sure that the translation was accurate. It's pretty accurate, but there was some like little bits that the Google Translate missed out as well. But anyway, so let me just read the English Google Translate. I arrive at the shop to acquire a Kelly bag. 45 minutes of waiting before finding someone. This gives me time to accept the information necessary for my next potential purchase. I was totally taken aback by the saleswoman who obviously stopped at my rather classic and not very luxurious outfit, to the point that she asked me word for word, quote, "Why do you want a Kelly? We're talking about a 9,000 euro handbag. You need a real motivation to justify this purchase," end quote. She even thought I had never touched one and offered to show me one up close. It would be good to learn to treat everyone the same way and not to rely on age, style of dress, or the person's client record. She shouldn't have worried. I know the Kellys, their price, and if I come to find out it means I can acquire one. Her questions were out of place. She looked down on us and the interview only lasted about 10 minutes. I think this is also like a mistranslation, like in French, like she probably means like the appointment, but Google Translate wrote the interview. The conclusion basically from the essay: we don't have what you want, you better get close to other shops and narrow down your choice. It plays luxury, no problem. My new Kelly is in my dressing room, and Big H can, Hermes can, and Hermes can have been wiped off the mat for me. So there are a few mistranslations from Google, but in the French one, basically, in the French one, the essay, the way it's written here, the essay literally says, for what reason do you want a Kelly? Pour quelle raison voulez-vous un Kelly? For what reason do you want a Kelly? This is from the French translation. We're talking about a bag that's 9,000 euros. You need a real motivation to justify this purchase. The French part here is really interesting because basically it's like you need to have a real motivation to justify this purchase. But in French it reads as il faut une réelle motivation pour justifier cet achat. Okay, so you need to have a real reason to be buying this purchase, and you need to have a real motivation to justify this purchase. It's a really harsh and very cold. In French, it reads to me very cold. In English, it sounds really bad as well. So first of all, let's just be clear, because I'm always accused of siding with essays. The essay is wrong. The essay is rude. This is the famous Big H Cannes boutique. This happened 4 months ago. The Cannes boutique is not cupcakes and Pegasus and Hermes the messenger god flying around giving people bags every single day. It isn't cupcakes and unicorns and Pegasus and Hermes, etc. It is not that. We always hear about how Cannes will offer tourist bags. A lot of the reviews of the Cannes boutique and all the other French boutiques actually complain of how tourists are treated better than locals because they can spend more money in the boutique at any given time, which is really interesting because, you know, we always hear about like in the Anglophone reviews, like people complaining about how they've been treated by Big H, and how, oh, they're so rude in, you know, these boutiques and stuff in France, but actually a lot of French citizens say that tourists are treated better. So I think that this is a super interesting experience that we need to kind of dissect. So first of all, I think the first thing that we need to chat about here is the fact that the essay is actually testing her. Remember how I told you Big H essays love to test? But Big H essays have their own language that I'm calling Big H-glyphics, okay? Salute to everyone in Egypt. I love ancient Egyptian culture and civilization so much. Hieroglyphics themselves are so beautiful, so complex, absolutely stunning. Big H have their own language that only makes sense to Big H people. I have been following these reviews for months now. I've been chatting to many of you. Me, myself, and I had my own Big H experiences when I went shopping there in January. They have their own way of talking in order for them to figure out what kind of client you are. So let's just be clear, she was treated wrong. The essay was wrong to ask her, why do you want to buy a Kelly? We're talking about 9,000 handbag, 9,000 euro handbag. You need a real motivation to justify this purchase, meaning you need a real reason to justify this purchase. What she should have taken from this is the following. And there's no talk about this being like racially motivated or anything like that. Essentially, what the essay is saying in Big H-glyphics is, yes, there is a bag in the bag. I might sell it to you. Impress me. And I know many of you hate this idea of impressing Big H essays and having to impress essays and all of this. Respectfully, some essays I think do kind of love the power that they have over people's purchases, because why she's saying, why do you want a Kelly? You know, why do you want to buy a Kelly? We're talking about a 9,000 euro bag. You need to have a real reason to justify this purchase. You know, she wants the client to tell her why she should be lucky enough to get a Kelly from the Cannes boutique. Big H-glyphics is saying there is a bag in the bag. Might sell it to you, but I want you to tell me a little bit more about yourself. This was an opportunity for the client, okay, to also respond in Big H-glyphics, not in normal language. So the client is French. She shouldn't have responded in normal French. She should have responded in Big H-glyphics en français, and she should have been like, okay, well, oh, I love the Kelly bag because I love the way it looks. I love it in this color and this color. Or she could have been like, you know what, I love this bag because I'm going to start using it for work. I'm starting a new job. I just got promoted and I'm really excited to carry this new bag to work. Whatever, I'm just making things up. Keep the conversation going so you can get the offer. I understand many people don't like this element of shopping at Big H, but this is part of playing the Big H game. The Big H game can be very ugly at times. It can be very brutal. It can be very unattractive, and this is one of those examples when it is brutal and unattractive. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Don't come for me, I don't make the rules. The essay tested her. You fail, girl. You are not in the wrong here. You shouldn't have been talked to like that. Don't get me wrong, you get me. But when you walk into the lion's den, or should we say the stallion's den, okay, you need to get ready for game day. Game day is a glamazon term, okay, for the day when you go to try and score your Birkin, Kelly, or Constance without a massive purchase history. When it's game day, I beg your pardon, you need to be ready to deliver. It was game day. You were like, I'm going to walk into the Cannes store and ask for a Kelly. The essay is engaging with you. Yes, she's coming for you. She's testing you. She's asking to see, can you take the heat, or are you going to be upset and be stressed and run off and get upset about it? This client got upset. She has every right to be upset. But I would have played the game. If it was me and I heard this, like, why do you want a Kelly? We're talking about 9,000 euro bag. You need a real reason to justify this fashion. I'd be like, for example, just me being me, I would have taken that to mean in Big H-glyphics, talk to me about the Kelly. Tell me why you want this Kelly. I'd be like, you know what? I'd really like a Kelly 28 because I think that this bag really goes with my lifestyle right now. I love a top handle bag. You know, I'm always driving to meetings, to construction sites, whatever. I'm making things up here as I go along. And I feel like the Kelly 28 or the Kelly 25 would be the perfect companion in the things that I'm doing for work, for my career. Something like that makes you sound like a boss, okay? You're not pressed, but also you're not gonna let that essay make you upset and get you really wound up. The essay wound her up, the client was really upset and the client left. But still, Big H Cannes isn't all that it's meant to be, is it? Because we always hear, oh, go to Cannes. Cannes will sell you a bag. They're so nice. They're not that nice, are they? If they're asking people, what's your reason for buying this bag? Why do you want a Kelly? So obviously she did judge her based on how she looked, and I'm guessing based on the fact that this particular client doesn't have a purchase history at the boutique. Like I said, because I don't want anyone to misconstrue what I'm saying, I'm not defending the way the essay spoke to her. The way the essay spoke was wrong, and I've told you my limits are being racially profiled in a boutique. I don't care what it is. If I'm profiled in a store, me and my money are leaving that store and I'm keeping it moving. This isn't that situation. And in this particular situation, the essay is testing her in big H-glyphics. The essay is speaking big H-glyphics, honey. And she wants to see, are you going to respond in big H-glyphics? Or are you going to be upset in plain English or plain French in this case and kind of, you know, run away with your tail between your legs? What she should have done is she should have responded and been like, oh yeah, of course I'd love a Kelly because I like the way it looks. By the way, since you asked me why I want to buy a Kelly, I love colors like black and gold and pink. Do you have those colors here? Turn the tables, okay? Turn the tables. Like, why do some clients let these essays win in these reviews? Let me know what you think of what I think about that, because I do think that some of these things, it's perspective. I don't know if that's just me, maybe because I'm kind of like a big H outsider insofar as I live in Tanzania, I live in East Africa, there's no Hermes boutique on the African continent. I can kind of look at these stories with some fresh eyes as opposed to people who maybe shop locally. I'd love to know what you think about that. The Cannes boutique isn't all that it's cracked up to be, is it? Okay, so let's go through the next dragging review, which is from the Deauville location. So Hermes Deauville, by the way, it's so cute. It looks like a gingerbread house. Just Google Hermes Deauville, because I'm not putting the ponytails pictures in this video, honey. I'm not trying to get in trouble. It's such a cute looking boutique. I think it's so pretty. But anyway, it doesn't sound good though. It doesn't sound good. This boutique is being dragged so hard in all languages. This review is actually an English review, but I have a lot of the French stories as well. I'd like to share my experience that I had with an essay called X. She names the essay, so I'm not going to do that. I went to the store on the 5th of August. I had a Pareo that was 1,050 euros that needed to be changed for other products. Unfortunately, the attitude was absolutely unacceptable. I was attended in the rudest and most reluctant manner. In the beginning, I thought it was kind of an arrogant personality because we're all different. But then a French couple entered and the essay's name showed herself absolutely differently. I was truly disappointed. I felt like I was discriminated against. It's absolutely not corresponding to the policy of Big H itself. I'm a resident of Deauville. I live in Deauville, and this store is the closest to me. I'm willing to become a permanent client. So that I can purchase a Birkin or a Kelly, or at least put myself on the wish list. But now I feel really bullied. Okay, so first of all, big H-glyphics, honey. Okay, and before anyone starts, I'm not defending the boutique. This boutique is particularly tough, and lots of terrible. There are lots of reviews in different languages about this boutique and how the essays are really cold and very mean. She absolutely should have been treated well, but I have noticed that many reviews where a client, particularly in Europe, if you return things to a Big H location, I mean, you want to do an exchange, because don't forget, Big H don't do refunds, they do store credit. You want to do an exchange or store credit, all of a sudden they just completely lost interest in you. They have no interest or excitement to chat to you. So she wanted to exchange a Pareo, yeah, 1,000 euro Pareo, but they're like, oh, you know, the essay's like, oh gosh, someone's just here to exchange something, not here to even buy something, like I'm tired, I'm bored. this woman's wig is boring me. That's the kind of mood and energy that I feel like returns bring to Big H, particularly in Europe. And I've seen a lot of dragging reviews as well in the US. Whenever someone mentions that they're going to return or exchange something, like the mood changes and they're like dark clouds, okay? And it's like dark clouds and everyone's angry, the moon isn't there, the sun isn't there, the SA is annoyed, the manager's annoyed, the client doesn't understand why everyone is so angry. And I think that's because you're not going to buy something, you're just there to exchange something. And then she's saying, she lives in Deauville and, she wants to put her name down for a Birkin or Kelly wish. It's terrible, but the way, particularly the impression that I get of the Deauville boutique based on a lot of the French reviews is that if you don't go in there and spend money, like straight away, like they just completely lose interest in you. And I know that many people seem to think like, oh, I'm going to go to this French town or French like village and there's a Big H boutique there, I'm going to walk in and ask for a Birkin or Kelly. I'm sorry, but in a lot of locations like the Deauville boutique, the Aix-en-Provence boutique, the Cannes location, and that's just France. Now let's talk about Monaco, which is its own country. Like even Monaco, like in all of those locations, there are many local VIPs, local ballers, and local shot callers, honey. So those locations, they're not exactly like struggling for business. They're not going to be like, oh wow, they're tourists coming from from Paris, and they want, to be offered a BKC, like, oh, let me throw everything at them. They're going to be like, girl, bye, okay, because they do have an established local clientele. I feel bad for the client. She didn't deserve to be treated like that. It's just an exchange. She did spend €1,000 at Big H, but it just shows you the way a lot of these Big H boutiques think. If you're not spending the money with them in that boutique, they don't care. It's like you might as well have never have spent the money. The next one is again from the Deauville location. This is a French review and it was translated into like English. This is a shameful place to shop. The host is absolutely deplorable. The essay tells us that it takes a really long time for us just to buy a luxury bag. It turns everything into derision, and there's a lack of professionalism and tact. It's absolutely lamentable for a brand like Hermes to have this type of employee and SA. So obviously these people asked for a Birkin or a Kelly or a Constance. They're French citizens, they're local clients. They asked and they were told, it will take them a long time. It will take them a long time just to buy a luxury handbag. So translation, in Big H-glyphics, you haven't spent any money here. You are not local to this boutique. We're not going to offer you anything here. Really, really harsh, really cold. Don't support it. But I just want to say that this idea that like, oh yeah, I'm just going to go to a regional store and I'm going to walk in and get a Birkin or a Kelly or frankly even a Constance, because the Constance is a quote bag in France. I just want to be clear on that because there's a lot of misinformation about the Constance. The Constance is a quote bag in France, just to be clear. This idea that you're going to walk in and get one of the three holy grails in a regional provincial boutique, it's just not going to happen if that provincial location has a lot of like VIPs and ballers. The next dragging review is also from the Deauville boutique, and this is a French review that was translated into English. It says, shameful, in 1 hour of queuing there were 4 clients in the queue. Only one customer was allowed to enter. At 7 p.m. sharp, 2 security guards who were as invested as if they were at the entrance of the local supermarket, and one of whom who had a crumpled jacket, asked the 3 unfortunate remaining clients to leave and come back at 10 a.m. the next morning. Madame, he dared to say, a business has its hours. Everyone was stunned and we fled. I mean, my God, Big H is absolutely out of control. I'd love to know what you guys think about that one as well. I think, again, we've chatted about this before, cultural things about how, like, in Europe, and especially in France, they really respect closing time. Like, and I believe that the boutique for Big H in Deauville does close at 7. Like, they will not accommodate you. If you're in the boutique, if the boutique closes at 7, honey, Doesn't matter where you're from in the world, sweetheart. If you're from Deauville, if you're from Tanzania, you're from America, you will be leaving and they will tell you to leave. I think it's really cheeky and rude for the security guard to be like, you know, madame, like a business has its hours. Like, that is rude. But I'm not surprised at all either. I'd love to know what you think about those ones. Now, tell me what you think about the situations in Deauville and in Cannes. But before we go any further, please like this video and subscribe to my channel and hit notifications, because if you don't hit notifications, you will continue to miss my videos. Some of you are like, hey, I don't see your videos. I'm still uploading my videos. You haven't turned on notifications. Turn on notifications. It's really, really important. Now I want to talk to you about another like interesting story from the Aix-en-Provence boutique, which is another like very famous, I think, big H boutique. We hear about the Aix store every now and then. So Aix-en-Provence, of course, is a very famous French town, very beautiful, absolutely stunning. Many people have said it's completely beautiful and all the rest of it. Now, the boutique in Aix is another one of these boutiques that you always hear about on social media. People are like, oh, should I go there and try and get a Birkin? And the answer that tends to happen on social media, whether it's Instagram forums, Facebook group, TikTok, etc., is people seem to think that they can go to the Aix store and score cold without a purchase history, and in most cases it's not. It's not going to happen. I beg your pardon. I don't know why I can't speak today, because I think I've been seeing two languages with the reviews. I'm seeing French and English, and I'm also like thinking in Swahili in my head for other things. So please forgive me for that. So I was on the press forum. I was reading some of the French threads for Big H because I find those really interesting. The ones that are like outside of Paris. Someone left a recent experience of their experience at the Aix boutique. So I just wanted to summarize that person's experience because it's really interesting. And this individual was saying that basically they went to the Aix store, and long story short, they saw two people being offered quota bags. They saw two quota bags essentially being offered. They asked for a Kelly. A junior SA said that he couldn't offer the Kelly, so he brought a more high-ranking SA to chat to them. And the high-ranking SA said, quote, "This will be difficult, okay? Like to offer them, like, do you have any Birkins or Kellys? That will be difficult." I'm gonna give you the big H-glyphics translation for that in a second. And then the more senior high-ranking SA showed this poster, a Kelly, but wouldn't sell it to them. So big H-glyphics time, the Glamazon translation agency, okay. You don't have to pay me. I will translate for free big H-glyphics into the English language. When I read this story, obviously I wasn't there. We're just going based on what was written on the post. What I understood to mean was when the big HSA said it'll be difficult, like to offer, what the big HSA was saying was you haven't spent any money and you haven't bought any bits and bobs. Go buy some bits and pieces so it becomes undifficult and it becomes easy for me to offer. I think that the essay showing the poster, like a Kelly bag but not selling, was potentially there could have been a lost in translation moment, particularly if this was done in English, and assuming that the essay isn't super proficient in English. And you know, guys, I've said this before, like, you know, I speak, you know, fantastic English now, but I didn't grow up speaking English. Like, Swahili is my first language and I speak English. So I speak Swahili as my mother tongue. I speak English as well. My French is okay, it's decent. It is not easy speaking proficiently in a language that is not your native mother tongue. So cut the essays in France some slack when you're talking to them, because it is not easy. If you think it's easy, start speaking in French to them. And you don't speak French, boo-boo. Okay, we'll see how far you get. When I was reading this post, I was just assuming, it wasn't inferred in the post that if it was done in French or English. I was assuming it was done in English, and it's possible that the essay was possibly showing the Kelly to the client as like a possibility of what could be offered. But if the poster was a client of that specific location, the fastest way to be a client is to buy products in other métiers so that the boutique can obviously do well and put numbers on the scoreboard. At the end of the day, Big H operates like a professional sports organization. Big H is no different to Chelsea Football Club, Liverpool Football Club, yay, Liverpool, that's my team, woo! Man U, Real Madrid, Juventus, etc. Big H is no different than any of the big football teams, cricket teams, and all the rest of it. They operate based off performance. The boutiques that do really well get fantastic offers for their clients. The boutiques that are flopping, honey, they don't have quota bags in there. Someone in the Deauville reviews said that one essay, apparently there's a very grumpy essay at the Deauville boutique, and apparently you're supposed to avoid her. People have even described how she looks like. I don't want to talk about the way she looks like. And this really grumpy, moody essay told a client, a French client at that she hadn't received a Birkin or a Kelly shipment for 2 months, and this review was from a few months ago. I'm like, girl, why are you lying? You better stop lying. And then part of me was thinking, is that possibly true? Maybe if they're not putting numbers on the scoreboard, then yeah, maybe they're not going to be allocated like really beautiful BKCs like for the local clientele. But then at the same time, that doesn't make sense. The Deauville location has tons of reviews from local clients, people who are saying they're trying to buy jewelry, people who are buying ready to wear, so it probably is doing well. So the point I'm making is, the essay from the X story was hinting in big H-glyphics, please buy things, okay, to make it undifficult. When the big H essay said, oh, that will be difficult for me to offer you that, I think if I was there, and again, it's all hindsight, it's easy to say what you would say, you don't know how you'd react in the moment, but I'd be like, oh, okay, it might be difficult now. Are there maybe any other options that would be a bit easier? But while you're thinking about that, let me just keep looking around the store. There might be some other things that I like, and then maybe we can figure out something together. Something like that. Make it sound a little bit better than what I've said, but I feel like the big H essay needs to know that you get it. They need to know that you know what time it is, you know the game. Because don't forget, at Big H, we don't say the L word. And on this channel, we don't say the L word. We only say the L word, and I'm going to put up what the L word is. We only say the L word. If you're talking to me privately, you can say the L word. If you're a member of my group, you can say the L word, okay? If you follow me on Instagram, you can say the L word. But on this channel, we don't actually physically say the L word. But we all know that the L word exists. The Big H essay was signaling to the poster, please go buy other things. Let's get to know each other, girl. So that things aren't so difficult and tense by asking for a BKC straight away. But the poster didn't necessarily do anything wrong. These things happen because they happen. Sometimes it can be in the moment. And yes, sometimes there are people who said, hey, I went to Nice and I was offered something and I didn't buy anything. But generally speaking, that is not true. Most cases it's like, you bought some click H's, you bought some orans, you bought some silks, you bought some twillies, or you bought a pair of orans and a twilly and then in a regional store, and then you said, hey, do you have a Birkin or a Kelly or a Constance, and then they offer you one. Particularly the location like Aix-en-Provence, that location is going to have a lot of local VIPs and local big spenders. So they're not too pressed and not starving necessarily for the tourist trade, if that makes sense. So I just wanted to share that story. I thought it was super interesting. And like I said, you know, salute to that person for sharing their story. When I saw it on that Purse Forum thread, I thought it was really interesting. It was worth us chatting about. The OP didn't do anything wrong. It was just very interesting hearing the big H-glyphics that are going on basically at the moment. The final thing that I want to share with you that I thought was really interesting was something that I saw in a Facebook group. Someone was talking about their experience of shopping at a big H location in the US. It's a pretty competitive location. It's basically 2-to-1. And they were trying to get a non-quota bag, and their essay was basically like, their essay was saying, hey, you can come to the store, but you know, I don't have anything for you. I was reading the person's story. I left a positive comment on their thread, you know, to, you know, give them, you know, hope and say, you know, I do think that their money is important and their value. But when I was reading this particular individual's experience, it really struck me that there's some essays who make it very clear that you are not spending money, but they can't tell you because of the L word. Remember the L word at Big H. And the L word is like, they're not even, we all know Big H is not even allowed to like even note that the L word exists, but we all know it does exist. I feel like in this particular individual's case, the essay was basically trying to tell her, like, you're not spending enough money in order for me to feel energized and to feel driven to go and get you really great offers, whether it's a Back and Kelly Constance offer, quota offer, or whether it's a very desirable non-quota offer, because the person had said that they wanted a picotin. And they, couldn't get even offered that. They couldn't even get offered that. So the person goes to the boutique to buy things and then meets another essay because her essay has gone to lunch, which, by the way, seems like a setup or something weird like that. Like the essay didn't want to deal with her, and then another essay, took her money basically, but she's still basically at square one. So there's a lot that we can learn from that. And I think the first thing is, if an essay doesn't want to work with you and frankly is showing contempt for you and your money, it's time to go elsewhere. I'm very much a fan of I'm just going to take my money elsewhere. Like if you show me that you're not interested in selling me anything, I'm just going to move on and go somewhere else. I know it's easier said than done, particularly if you live far away, but I think it would be worth doing that. But I also think another thing that's really important is review your situation at Big H. Are you spending appropriately for that location? And this is why I always tell you that the buy what you love stuff is absolute rubbish, because it doesn't help to buy what you love at a very competitive location where people are buying watches and Diamond Kelly bracelets and Collier de Chien bracelets with diamonds, and buying rings that have tons and tons and tons of diamonds, and then you're there buying silks and orants. Like, you're not really going to get far at a location like that where people are competing and buying a lot of stuff. And don't get me wrong, it doesn't have to be diamonds. You might decide, okay, look, I'm going to go buy some of the silver fine jewelry. Maybe you could start building your profile with silver fine jewelry if you don't like diamonds. Or maybe you could start building your profile with some of the autumn-winter prêt-à-porter, the autumn-winter prêt-à-porter bits and bobs that are coming. But I think in those really competitive locations, if you're not necessarily someone who can spend a lot, you should be shopping quite strategically, and you should be aware of what you're spending, and don't go and spend one-to-one in silks and shoes, because that offer is going to take a very long time to materialize in that case. So I think it's really important to know what you're buying as well. I felt bad for this particular poster, and I did leave a positive comment in that group. It wasn't, by the way, it's not my Facebook group, it was another Facebook group, but that discusses Big H, and I hope that the person feels better, because it doesn't feel good to be made to feel bad, and particularly about your spending or what you're buying and stuff. But the reality is the Big H game is brutal. It's tough. It's almost medieval in its approach. And it's so brutal and tough. And only the people who can afford to spend and spend and spend are the people who are essentially going to survive because of the L word at Big H. So I think it's just worth noting that. I'd love to know what you think about all of the dragging stories and the scenarios that we have discussed today. I would love to know what you guys think about all of that. As usual for me, we're all adults here, it is what it is, but like I said, I do also have my limits, and I have been clear, I haven't agreed with everything that the essays have done here, particularly the last example, because when this particular individual went to buy the shoes with another essay, the essay told that individual, because I think the person had asked about bags, and the essay said there are more important clients waiting for bags. That is so harsh and so hurtful and brutal. I mean, even by Big H standards, that is absolutely brutal. So I'd love to know what you guys think about all of that. But Big H is a brutal medieval sport. It is like jousting, honey, and you need to decide, are you getting on the horse to joust with a lance, or are you going to be, thrown off the horse, honey? And just figure out where you are in the game. So I'd love to know what you guys think about all of it. By the way, tomorrow I'm going to have a bonus video about Chanel's price increase, because that's happening, and I found out all this information on Thursday. So I want to get that video out to you, but then my next video will be on I meant this Thursday that's passed. So tomorrow I'll have a video about Chanel's price increase, and then next Thursday we'll be back to the schedule of 2 videos a week. So make sure that you are fully subscribed, you turned on notifications. Tell me what you think about everything in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow in my next video.